Now, Carolyn, computer eye strain is a common problem because all of us are working with computers, especially when we're working with them under those wonderful fluorescent lights. Long-term effects, is there anything that you know about this?
Yes, I'll have to refer to a book called Cross Currents by Dr. Becker, who does a lot of research on this. And what I'd say, let's go simply through the phases here. We're told to stay away from TVs, 7 to 10 feet. Computers, our face is right up in front of them. I use a computer day and night myself. So I try to stay at arm's length, detach the keyboard so you're back, and also angle it away from you. Static electricity on the computer screen draws dust and then forces it into your eyes. So wearing glasses or having a screen in front is very important. The radiation effects, it can go from eye strain to cataracts to miscarriages, birth defects, cancer. There are more and more studies on this. We've gotten into this technology without adequate research, I would think. And it is very important to read the literature about it before just accepting all this technology.
Yeah, and I guess because it's something that's sort of new and it's there and we're all using it, we're going to have to maybe wait a few years before things become really conclusive. Our next question comes from Hilda Steiner of Beaverton. For over a year, Hilda's had a history of nose and throat problems. One of the diagnoses blamed nerves and concluded that there was nothing that could be done about it. In the meantime, her symptoms have gotten worse, burning eyes and nostrils and lots of mucus. Several doctors later, the burning feeling has been put down to acid backing up from the stomach. Another verdict was postnasal drip. The condition is painful, annoying, and making breathing difficult and disrupting her sleep. Is there anything that Hilda can do to relieve these symptoms, Carolyn?
Okay, I'm hearing acid stomach, so I'll talk about that. If there's an acid stomach, it means there's heartburn coming up from the stomach through a weakened esophageal sphincter. What can weaken that is poor breathing. You have to take deep breaths in order to massage your stomach down. You have to avoid foods that weaken this sphincter. The worst food is chocolate. Then comes caffeine and tea and alcohol. These things can also burn. Now, what happens when the acid reflux is your body can produce more mucus to deal with this, and the mucus then can be a postnasal drip. What I would advise for mucus, I've said this many times already on the show, avoid mucousy foods like dairy products and bread products for a few weeks to see if this changes. My patients, I often have them go on a fast with just vegetables and fruits for 3 days. Ask your doctor first. And we'll see what happens. You have to experiment with your diet because certainly what comes into your body will affect you. The stress that this lady, Hilda, has been under probably has promoted this problem. I think a tincture of thyme and some relaxation therapy would be helpful as well.
And you gave us some great relaxation tips a little earlier in the program. The next letter was sent directly to Yvonne and is to say, to the least, a most unusual question. Now, this fellow writes, Yvonne, I'm 36 years old. I was involved in a head-on car collision with a drunk driver last year. I felt myself flow out of my body and watched the crash from somewhere above the car. I saw my life flash before my eyes, and I felt this incredibly beautiful feeling of peace, love, and bliss. I've heard of something called near-death experience. Is this what happened to me, and what does it mean?
Well, caller, yes, indeed, you have had a near-death experience. What a near-death experience is a mystical or out-of-body experience that happens to you when you have a close brush with death. And the most common things that happen to people is, first, that you feel yourself float out of your body, and sometimes you're actually looking down and watching what's happening to your body down below, so you watch the crash happen to you. The second thing that happens is you feel incredibly peaceful, and you lose your fear of death, and you just feel this incredible calm. The next thing that a lot of people experience is they see a dark tunnel, and they see a light at the end of the tunnel. And then sometimes they'll see their life flash in front of their eyes as if they relived their life in an instant. And then they come into an incredible light-filled space where they will sometimes feel that they're seeing spiritual beings or entities. There's this incredible light. It's the most wonderful, mystical experience that people have ever had in their lives. And then if you're resuscitated or rescued, as what happened in your case, the experience ends. So what you had really is a near-death experience.
Now, is this something that can change somebody's life permanently? I mean, I couldn't go through something like that and not have it deeply affect me.
Well, absolutely. People who have near-death experiences are changed. First, they're convinced it's real, even if everyone else thinks they're nuts. Like when I had my near-death experience, nobody thought I really went through this. I must have imagined it. But now we realize that people do have these experiences, and it changes them spiritually, too. They start thinking, hey, maybe there is something after death after all.
Now, is it common? Can anyone have them, or is it a certain type of personality?
Absolutely everybody. We now know that children have near-death experiences, that the elderly have near-death experiences, all age groups and all cultures.
Wow, this is an incredible subject. I could blow a whole show on this, but I think I may not be back to do another show. So I think we'll thank you for all your questions. They were marvelous this week, by the way. Thank you, guys. One of my favorite topics. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Yvonne, for all your information.
You're welcome.
Our answering machine is busy, but we'd love to get more letters and videos. Now, as you can see, we do cover a huge range of subjects, so chances are, if you have a question, we've got an answer. We've got a panel of wonderful experts. Send us a video by Courier Collect. Call us, we'll tell you how. We promise we'll send you back one and a new one, so you can even send in some more questions. Get your pencils out. Here's the mailing address for your letters and our phone numbers and fax numbers. Mailing address is Question and Answer, Box 200, Station Q, Toronto, M4T 2T1. The Q&A fax number is area code 416-484-4519. To call our answering machine, dial 1-800-668-1467. Remember, it's a toll-free number. Now, for those of you who had a question answered on tonight's show, you'll get one of these fabulous Q&A t-shirts, which I don't have, but it's modeled by some of our crew. And you'll also get one of these two books. Love, Limits and Consequences, written by Dr. Yvonne Kaysen and Terry Degler, published by Summerhill Press Limited. Or When You Can't Reach the Doctor, written by Dr. Carolyn Dean and published by Perfect Pitch Editions. Carolyn, tell us a little bit more about this AIDS research you're going on to do.
I'm completely excited about this. It brings together my nutrition work, homeopathy, and acupuncture, and it's a well-funded 200-person AIDS clinical trial for an entire year. I'll be living and working in Manhattan, and at the end of it, I'm sure we'll have very good results, and it will mean the blossoming of a new type of medicine.
Are you going to be using natural medicine for the AIDS patient?
Totally.
Wonderful.
Yeah, totally. No side effects, non-toxic therapy. So it's very exciting.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Yvonne, tell us about your book. You're researching one on near-death experiences.
Yes, actually it's on spiritual emergent syndrome, which includes near-death experiences. It also includes my experiences and the stories of over 100 people that I've talked to over the years who've had all sorts of mystical experiences, either brought on through meditation, Kundalini yoga, intense prayer, or spontaneously. So it's a wide topic, including near-death.
I can hardly wait for it to come out. As usual, change the subject. We'll change the expert. Keep those questions coming. Thank you both again for some fabulous advice and a wonderful show. That's Q&A for this week. Remember, it's your show, so use it. I'm Sue Anderson. Good night.
The question I have is, what card could one purchase rather than the CIBC Visa card with a $12 annual fee? What other card could one obtain with the same features as the Visa without any yearly fee?
How can the government put a limit on doctors' salaries of $400,000 a year when they don't put a limit on plumbers or baseball players or hockey players? I think the doctor is more beneficial to the mankind than either a plumber or a hockey player.